Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the instructions in the video description.
Villain opens from early position, maybe like UTG1 or something, to 10,
Okay.
which is not standard.
Right.
Standard is like 20.
Right.
So he opens to 10. Two late position callers, which don't matter for the hand. And we're in the big blind with ace-8 offsuit. So obviously, I just complete the extra 5.
Yep. And just a small note on this too. Again, rounding off pre-flop game. Obviously, I'm not going to fold to a min raise here because you're getting an incredible price. But I think sometimes people too, to a normal raise call here, you would just fold the weak ace, especially one of the worst weak aces. And then also too, I ran this by Conlon when we were doing a top section podcast because I felt like I was leaking in my own game in both heads up and multi-way big blind defense. If you're playing in a full ring game versus a tight opener from up front, even at a 3 to 3.5x, you're supposed to fold the ace-8 off heads up in the big blind too. And then you can obviously deviate from that. Obviously, I'm not going to fold to a min raise, but okay, so you call with ace-8 off. Yep.
Right. Okay, so we go 4 weights to the flop. So flop, call it 40, minus the rake, whatever. So the flop comes out ace, queen, 6, rainbow. Don't have the suits. They don't really matter, but it was rainbow.
Okay, so ace, queen, 6, rainbow. Okay.
Right. I check, see what he's going to do, and he bets 35.
All right, so UTG bets almost the size of the pot, 35.
Yeah,
okay. Yep.
Almost the size of the pot. And the late position callers, they fold, and it's back to me, and I decide to just call, to see how, obviously I'm not going to fold, but I want to see what's going on here. Okay, so at this point, I'm putting him on some kind of an ace, most likely not a big ace, but either like if he's got a hand, that is, or he's just absolutely nothing, right? But I'm hoping, if he's got a hand, it's some kind of an ace garbage. So the turn, it's by 110 in the pot. The turn comes offsuit 8. So we make 2 pair.
An 8 that's offsuit. Okay.
Right. It's a total rainbow board.
Yeah.
So we got 2 pair. And here, because of the profile of the player, 2-5, I decide to play it, obviously non-standard. I lead out for 125, which is over the pot, because of the stack size and because, I think if you've got an ace, I don't think this kind of player is ever going to fold an ace, especially for such a weird kind of lead. So I'm kind of max exploit, mode. So I'm going 125. And also, like I said, there's been a little bit of history. I actually, doubled him up before in a hand where I got confused by his extremely small sizing and kind of I misread his weak, and I kind of check raised him with a flush draw, and he shoved, and I was priced in. So I doubled him up. He had 2 pair, and he bet like super small because I think he wasn't aware of the pot size. So anyway, so I lead for 125, and he just snap raises to 500, and I mean like snap raises.
Well, before we get to the response to the raise here, my feeling is that if I wanted to build a pot up against this guy here with ace-8, I might just go for a check raise. You guys are 1,700 effective. If he's got air, he's going to check it back. I mean, if he's got air, he's going to bet at it or check, whatever. You get some bluff equity. Not that, he's using pretty large sizing. But and I don't think that ace-8, I think ace-8 is probably strong enough to do that. Like, if you check and he bets 100, now you could make it 325 to 350, and you get more value than just leading where he's probably going to just call with a fair amount of his 1 pair hands. I mean, that's the first thing. So I would probably play this as a check raise if I wanted to build a pot up for max value. Now, when you get into this spot, so let's say, okay, you chose to lead and now he raises to 500. I mean, I'm not going to fold. Are you just going to give him ace queen or pocket queens? I mean,
right.
It's probably strange that, I don't know if, it's a huge sizing, so I don't know if someone's going to do this with ace king, but this would have to be a gigantic, you'd have to know this player like the back of your hand to bet fold here on the turn, just to a huge, to a raise,
Right. No, I'm with you. So what I thought, well, as far as the check raise, I think that people the kind of more novice players, they view a check raise as like mega strong. So basically, like I'm going for like least fold equity type of play. He's gonna invent some hand that doesn't make sense for me to have, like ace queen or whatever.
Well,
Or
you just
queens.
said that you check raised him with a flush draw, right? And he jammed on you before.
Right, but he did have two pair. That's exactly why I check raised, because for max fold equity, because I thought he was weak and I just had a king high flush draw. So, but I'm doing the reverse.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what I ended up doing is I called because, like you said, I'm not just gonna fold.
By the way, I mean, this hand again to remind people of the action. The guy made it really a strange raise pre, right? He went 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So going back, this is why I mentioned that sizing, because so I kept thinking back, like, well, ace queen doesn't make sense on one hand because he raised to 10, right? So normally you're thinking there's no way he's got ace queen, but this is specifically why I bring up that hand. He bet like a third pot or something on a very, very wet board with top two pair, because I think he was just not aware of the pot size or so. So at this point, I'm thinking he could have ace queen, even though like normally you wouldn't see this. People wouldn't raise to 10, wouldn't open to 10 with ace queen. But this guy is kind of clueless, I thought, so I was a little bit concerned about ace queen, but like you said, I'm not just going to fold right now. So I decided to just call. But those are the details that I kind of.
Sure. I mean, and then some very strange stuff, like he could have ace six just as a one-off. Right. I mean, I'm not ready to fold now, and I've seen people play this way and then roll over ace king because like they don't know what they're doing, or 8-6, or who knows, queen 6. I mean, I know these are unlikely hands, but seen some strange stuff.
Yeah, but two pair. Yeah, the h6 is really the hand that I'm kind of thinking he might have, and I was hoping that he would have. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, the guy clearly thinks two pairs the nuts, type of a deal. So I decided.
So let me ask you this question. James Conboy in the live chat is saying, and this didn't necessarily come to my mind. I do think it's a little bit of an overplay. Did you ever consider just getting it in on the turn? Here.
I actually did. I did. And so I wasn't afraid of sets or anything like that. So like if I somehow ended up with an ace queen, I would absolutely get it in. But because I figured like I'm beating ace 6, but I'm losing to ace queen, so I'm kind of in the middle. And
well, you also have to think that a guy's going to raise and call off with just ace king for you to make that play sort of profitably. So
yeah, if he's got exactly. And honestly, like I didn't think I mean, there's a tiny chance he's got ace king, but I thought it more likely that he's got some kind of two pair. Like I wasn't sure what kind. At this point. Like I was always kind of putting him on some rag A's that he just sweetened the pot with to 10. But again, with this guy, it could be possible he's got ace queen. So I just kind of decided. I thought about it for a little bit, but I decided that I'm not gonna, because it is 1700.
Right. So the pot's a little over 1100 ish, and you've got like what, about a pot size bet left? Is that right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is pretty deep. It is pretty deep, and like I said, for 2-5. Yeah. Certainly. So the river comes an interesting card. The river pairs a 6.
So the river pairs a 6, which of course means that ace 6 now beats you. But does he think that ace king is still the nuts or something like that? And you would think that if he was overplaying the turn with ace king, that he might shut it down now. You know what I'm saying? He was playing like a stop raise on the turn. He might check. So I imagine you check here, right?
Yeah. So what I was thinking also when I decided to call, I was also kind of waiting to see the river and possibly lead. Like, because at this point, even though relative to the pot, it would be, maybe not a huge bet, but it would be an absolutely gigantic bet, especially if the guy doesn't play 2-5. So I thought at that point I could safely like bet fold, because there's just no way he's going to, raise a huge bet.
Like almost block like 400 or 500 or something like that.
Yeah, for value, which he would never fold an even
right. It's like
a single ace.
I'm not a huge fan of pure block betting. Like I don't buy. No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying
for value.
Right. I'm just sort of explaining, like people say, "Oh, block the river." Like if you're not blocking the river, if you can't get called by worse, then there's no sense to block the river. And I agree with you. Like you can get called if you block, but to purely block to. When people say, "Oh, I'm going to block the river because I'm going to bet an amount that I'm comfortable calling with," that doesn't really hold water to me. You have to be able to bet an amount that you're going to get called with, and it sort of freezes them too. Okay, so you
Yeah,
check.
right.
Yeah.
So I check, and he just like grabs a bunch of chips. He grabs like a stack of green, which is 500, and just grabs like a bunch of black, which are hundreds, without even like counting. Just puts them on top and just puts them, and just kind of puts them in the middle. And so the dealer counts out a bet, and it's 700. So he just like bets without even thinking or counting. He just puts out 700 out there.
I mean, I think I would fold now. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I mean, if that river card actually helps some of the hands that we thought he could be like overplaying as a weird sort of spaz with two pair, like ace six, eight six, queen six, whatever it is, like. I just don't know if he's going to blast 700 with ace king. I mean, that's really all you beat here is a bluff and like an overplayed ace king. I don't see the bluffs that much if you're talking about its total rainbow board, and I don't know if he's going to bet ace king like this or like thinks that like he has like protection with like ace jack or ace 10 and trying to bet you off of a chop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what ended up happening, I pretty much like I kind of hated the six, because ace six was like the main hand that I was trying to get value from.
Yeah.
But so I kind of thought about it, but I figured I can't call this.
Yeah.
And I folded, and so for the reveal, he very proudly turned over ace eight, like, and not like
Well.
I got the nuts, like
Right.
you got look, I had you all the way, I'm not bluffing here, ace eight.
Right. Well, I mean, but that's like the absolute best case scenario for you, though, right? I mean, I think you thought the hand through. Like you're reading him as correct. We all see this type of strength, the chip BS at the end. We know he's not betting ace king. So if he has a bunch of hands and the best thing that you're up against is ace eight, like you can run equities on the river after all the cards are revealed too. Like you can stove the river. Right? You can put in a range of what is this guy going to have on the river, and if it's like ace queen, ace six, ace eight, you don't have the equity to call, right? Even with the hand revealed,
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I thought it was kind of crazy. I was a little shocked, but like I said, I think this guy was a little out of his comfort zone a little bit. But
all right, Gene, thanks for the call. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.